I'm not a huge fan of platformers. However, when I was given a copy of Feist to review, I thought it looked pretty cool, or cool enough to give a try at least. So here we go. In Feist, you play as a furry ball of fur man in an oddly dangerous forest where your only task is to survive. This task is easy at the start where there really isn't much to deal with. However, in later levels, enemies begin to come in a bit quicker and in higher masses. Though they were once easily evaded in the earlier levels, chances are you'll have to start killing fools to stay alive. This is made even easier with the use of weapons such as sticks, rocks, and pine cones all scattered about the floor and trees in the forest. It's only in those later levels when these items become scarce and you're left with nothing but your raw wit and mental and physical prowess to progress through the forest. Unfortunately, this isn't your typical walk through the forest. That is, if being a walking ball of fur in a forest full of flying spike flies didn't already give it away, as there are a number of enemies you must fight, evade, or fight. I don't know, lists always sound better with the third thing. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of a third thing. There are spiky caterpillars, which are pretty easy to just avoid. Two kinds of spooky flying spike flies. One that just flies above a certain area and tries to pierce you with its tail. The other, a more rotund variety, who chases you for a distance, shooting its tongues at you. All this in addition to weird bear guys, spiders, and spear traps placed all around the floor and more. And also you can grab onto the flies and use them as your own, like, spear shooters, and it's pretty cool. Luckily, combat isn't that annoying since most of these enemies can just be bludgeoned with a rock or a pine cone, smacked with a stick rather, I'm so sorry, or lured to a spear trap, not to mention just be evaded altogether, which was my go-to strat when playing this game. Unlike most other platformers where enemies follow a set path and do set things on a set timer, in Feist, they react to your character. Instead of the jabby fly guys just jabbing down at timed intervals and following a path, they'll follow you and time their jabs accordingly. And that's terrifying and also pretty neat. I do admire that mechanic quite a lot. I love the art style in this game, and especially in platformers. The minimal silhouetted art style is great for platformers as they are very simple games if you look at it. So the simple minimal look really complements the game well. The levels are designed beautifully. I don't believe I've been given a game whose art style I didn't like. So there's a challenge to the guy who assigns me games. Yeah, there you go. The music, though a bit monotonous, provides the perfect ambience. It accompanies the design and atmosphere of the game very well. Just like the art style, it's fairly simple though extremely powerful as it adds to the whimsy of the forest. It was it was one of the most enjoyable soundtracks I've listened to, and again, I don't think there's been one I haven't liked so far. So there you go. Another challenge, guy who assigns me games. It wouldn't be a review without gripes, so here we go. As much as it pains me to say this, Feist isn't perfect. There, I said it. The gameplay and animations are smooth, however, I sometimes found it hard to trigger select actions or maneuver certain things like grabbing flies seemed very trial and error-y and only seemed to work sometimes. Throwing pine cones sometimes didn't go as planned. I'll admit it's mostly due to my poor aim, however sometimes it did seem a bit difficult to get the angles right. Other times I found it difficult to progress, not due to the game being too hard because it is appropriately difficult, but triggering certain actions was a bit hit and miss, like the first giant bear guy I encountered. It took me ages of trying to progress without trying to kill him, when it turns out the only way to actually progress is to kill him. From there I spent about 4 deaths worth of time figuring out how to actually kill him, only to figure out I needed to run under a log so he'll try to grab at me, only to trigger a trap that ends him and lets me move on. Although that was a bit annoying, I admire the devs for implementing things like that and felt well done by the end of my play session, I'll admit. In conclusion, despite all my gripes, all the components of Feist work well with each other. The physics are on point, as is the platforming. Gameplay is smooth and combat is challenging yet thought-provoking. It is a very compelling game that would be great for anyone interested in platformers and anyone else for that matter. It's a challenging game, which it should be. It is about survival and it is a platformer after all. And I love how it puts emphasis on that rather than puzzles like other platformers. The minimal art style and music style really complement this type of game, and I'm glad I got to play it. Though not always fun or even rewarding by the end, Feist is still an oddly satisfying experience, and with that I must say, that is the end of this video, and I'll see you guys next time. My name is Anthony. See first. I can't be sure to see first videos for things off in Steam. I guess we're saying that slower. Be sure to check out our t-shirt store, our live streams, and there's a link to Feist in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.